and welcome back. We are the Grimm Femmes, and this is Beyond the Veil. Um, let's see. So it's okay. Intros. I know how to do this. Why don't we first go around? We will introduce all of our lovely players. We are short two of our players tonight, but that's kind of going to be commonplace for a campaign like this. And and then we will jump into what it is that we're doing. Maria, do you see? Okay. Um, and then we will get into what it is that we're doing and some sort of housekeeping things. So why don't we start? Let's start with Val.
What's up? I'm Val. I use she, her pronouns, and tonight I am playing Lapis, the Kalishtar Circle of Dreams druid, who also uses she, her pronouns and is currently a raven.
And over to Anders.
Hi, I'm Anders. I use he, him pronouns, and tonight I am playing Tate, who also uses he, him pronouns and is a Azamar abjuration wizard.
You're a wizard. And down to Maria.
Hello, I'm Maria. I use
Hello.
hello. I use she/they pronouns, and tonight I will be playing Irene, also known as Prosperine, who is a tiefling hexblade warlock who uses she/they pronouns.
And up to me. I am Emma. I use she, her pronouns, and I am your story weaver for this campaign. And so what are we doing? This is we are using storytelling as a way to process and unpack real life trauma. So several content warnings, and watch at your own discretion. Please don't hesitate to take time for yourself, as this can be pretty intense at times, not always. And we will be doing the same. And also don't forget to hydrate, everybody. So let's talk about, we use, thank you for the host. We use a lot of safety tools in this, some of which we've talked about, and we added a new safety tool which we will be implementing this week. So we use the card system, which I guess is also a stoplight system if you're actually technically using physical things. But we have our various cards that we use to check in with one another. We are adding a white card now. Because we are processing trauma and various PTSD moments of our lives, there will be times when our body will have a natural reaction and response of disassociating in that moment. So our white card is going to be an opportunity for us to just flash it. The rest of us will flash our green card in acknowledgement. And the white card says, I'm disassociating. I know I'm disassociating, or I know I'm going to disassociate, to let us know that that's what's happening. And we will give them the space to do that. We know to adjust our role playing as necessary when they do that. And for some players, they have asked, try to pull me back into it when I start to do that. So this is a very supportive space, and we are just trying to give each other the room and support and space that we need to do this processing safely. So let's talk about what happened last week. Let's do a recap. So the party was invited to the Antikythera Manor, where they made their way through it and found their way into the inversion of the manor, and went through essentially their own psyches, and had to speak to past versions of themselves, or engage with past versions of themselves as they were processing and walking through these rooms. And each one was very different. Each one chose to engage in very different ways. But for everyone, it felt a little bit heavy. And so at the end, it became sunrise. And that was when the masquerade of the veil ended, and the group found themselves in the same spot of the manor. However, the manor was gone. So they took time to hang out in the field and watch the sunrise. They built a fire, they cooked a meal together, and they sort of just held space. Um, Lapis turned into a raven, took some time to fly around, and Primrose turned into a dire wolf. Uh, and that was where we left off. I think before we jump in, I will say that Billion often needs to go off and care for her patients at the temple, and she received word that they needed her back there, so she traveled back. And Primrose chose to return back to the woods for a period of time, and we will rejoin them at some point. But until then, we find ourselves out in the field, finishing up breakfast, and it is about mid-morning. And what would you all like to do?
Are we still in Irene's space?
Oh my gosh, that's right. Irene opened up a dimension door. Is it dimension door? Is that what that is? No. What is it?
It was one of my things I can do like once or twice a day. What is it? Demiplane.
We went to your demiplane. That's why
Yeah.
we went to your secret demiplane.
Yeah. Which lasts for roughly an hour, but if we get stuck in it, I can just use plane shift, which is something else I can do once a day.
All right. So we ended in Irene's demiplane. And for the sake of narrative, Tate, you are in there as well.
My picture was real. Yay. I imagine there to kind of reset where we were, there was this wall of just books and bookshelves, just kind of floor to ceiling, and in front of it was just all sorts of comfy seats, like pillows and blankets and the equivalent of beanbag chairs. And I imagine at some point we're all just kind of like comfortably close to each other, just in bread coma. There's a lot of pastries eaten. And I think I get like a little tickle in the back of my head that's kind of like my internal magic clock saying, time to go. So I kind of sit up, and my little cat bird had been like on my stomach, and it just kind of flops off. And I look around at my comfy companions, and I smile. And I say, I think we have to get going now. We can come back tomorrow.
Cool.
I'll pick up like a Danish on the way out. Because unlike with like Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion, the things in here are real. There's just a lot of them.
Anders, have you been talking? I saw your mouth moving. You were muted.
I love that expression so much.
I was muted. I was just saying that I would take several pastries to go.
Excellent. I knew we were friends.
Amazing.
It's gonna be a difficult one. Okay. Lapis is gonna swoop, pick up a pastry, and then whoop round to Tate and you kind of hover there and just like gesture to the shoulder like, go? Go. And just lands with his face straight in her mouth.
Bird head scritches, if allowed.
So what does it look like when you depart? Is there a door? Does it disappear?
I think there's a kind of like a dark, shimmery doorway. I don't think there's an actual door. And I kind of just gesture towards for everyone else to go first. And then as they step out, it's as if they had been like walking through the field and they just take like another step and it's just straight on to where we were before. And as I step out, like from a third person perspective, it just kind of starting at the back of this plane, it just kind of like dissolves into this like dark purple mist. And then the shimmery door frame just kind of does the same thing as soon as I step out.
Okay. And so you all leave, and you are back in the field that you left. What is it that you would like? Well, let's do this. Would anyone like to go back into Dawn Call before we see where you might go next?
That's our town, right?
Yes, that's the yep.
I would like to go back to my shop to grab something just real quick.
Sure.
Because I probably didn't take them with me to a party. I'd like to get like my weaver's kit and my knitting needles and just all that sort of stuff.
Our regular clothes. We're still in fancy clothes.
I
Yes,
was just thinking,
and
like,
regular clothes.
Yeah. Let's I would. Can we go with you, Tate? I kind of want to change.
Yes, of course.
and I am bird on your shoulder,
Caca.
so I will go with you. For you, where you go, I go.
So you head back into town. We can say that we can role play through these scenes if you would like, or we just say that you all go to your places to collect your things. Whatever you would like to do.
I want to ask Tate if they have time, if they could maybe alter my clothes, my normal clothes, because as I kind of described them, they were kind of ill-fitting. They looked a little like of an older fashion and older style, not like old or decrepit or anything like that, but just like a more matronly than Irene herself is. And she would just kind of bring them, still in her fancy clothes, bring them over and ask, if it's not too much trouble, could you help make this more like me? That sounds weird. My mother got this for me, and it doesn't really, it's not really something that it's not really me.
I'd be happy to, Irene. I know what it's like to wear clothes that aren't you. It's not very fun, is it?
not terrible. I just don't. It's not comfortable.
Well, we want you to be comfortable and happy in the clothes you're in. So, do you have any ideas of what you'd like me to do with it? And I will begin to take out my threads of time.
Well, and she'll kind of hold it up, and it's this, and it's a dress that has a fairly ornate top, and the bottom is just kind of a little bit large, and she says, I don't like skirts, but I like the top half. It's just too big, and I like this bit. And she kind of points to where there's this like super floofy lace. I don't really like that bit.
Well, not to brag, but I'm very good at turning skirts into pants. Lot of experience at that.
Perfect.
So I will sit with Irene and begin to adjust things and just sort of listen to your instructions and take things off that you don't like and change things and add things if you want them. And I will do all of that with my threads of time.
So, I have 2 questions. The first being, I would like you to roll a D100.
Yep. This is the first time we get to do this.
I'm so excited.
That's low, 38.
Okay. So, my second question is, what does it look like when you first use these? What does it look like when you sort of decide that this is like, how does it look like when you sew with these threads?
At first it's like normal thread. I thread a needle and I begin to sew and it just seems like normal stitching. But the thread itself begins to almost move on its own volition and sort of dance up in the air around and almost sort of form a signature behind, as if I'm not only sewing with it, but I'm signing it, imbuing my very essence into it.
So, as you begin to thread this needle, you find that you are sort of, it's not like you don't know how to thread a needle. You are very comfortable doing that. What you find is that as you are trying to thread this needle, you become distracted with what you see in the threads themselves. And so it takes you a bit longer to go through this process because you continue to see a story unfold as you use these threads and as you fix and adjust and change Irene's clothing. And it is a story of your life and a part of you. So what is the story that you end up weaving with? What is it that, what part of your essence are you sort of gifting to Irene as you fix these clothes?
A few years ago, when I was alone for the first time ever, and sort of wandering the wilderness on my own, not really sure where to go, and only knowing I couldn't go back the way I came, I found an old house, abandoned, with clothes still hanging out in the yard, and they were dirty and they were beaten down by the weather, but I took those clothes and I made a hat for myself. I'd never made a hat before, and I only sort of knew what wizard hats looked like, and it was too big and it didn't fit, and I would put it on and it would drop all the way down and cover my eyes. But I made it all by myself, without anyone telling me to make it. And I still wear it to this day, though my head has grown into it a bit better.
And if you had to sum up the emotion that you felt as you made that hat, and as you found that hat and sort of pieced it and sewed it together, what would you say that is?
Peace.
Okay. So, Irene, as soon as you touch these new clothes, you can sort of feel this warmth begin to flow from the clothes into you, and you feel a sense of peace. And you are unaware of the story that is connected with this, but you do feel like you are being embraced by a peace that you could only find here in this moment.
Kind of like you hold a blanket or a towel that comes straight out of the dryer. She just kind of presses them into herself and says, Tate, they're perfect.
I'm glad you like them. Clothes can be really important and really hard. And they can make you really sad, but when they fit right, they can make you really happy too.
I would like, with his consent, to go over and give him the tightest squeeze ever.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Big hug.
Big super squeeze. And she says, I'm gonna go put these on. And she does, and she loves them. And I think it's a moment where assuming that this is like a shop with like a changing room, and maybe it has mirrors and stuff in it as well. There's this moment where she's by herself and she puts on these clothes and she looks at herself, like just herself, and just admiring all this like craftsmanship and this beautiful, the work that Tate has done. And then she looks up and she sees herself fully in something that was made for her, and something that she likes. And I think for the first time in her memory, she looks in the mirror and she smiles before joining everyone else. And she definitely shows off to Lapis. Shows off what Tate has made.
You just hear, when Lapis entered the shop, she flew up to the rafters with the other birds. And you just hear a cacophony of birds applaud as you strut your stuff.
So, I would like you all to roll a d6.
I got a 5.
Okay.
I got a 6.
Okay. Okay. So, Tate, you got a 1?
Yes.
Okay. So, you are aware that to the north, in the depths of the Ironbound Ridge, there are hamlets that often require assistance, such as food deliveries and medical supplies during the colder months. And there are usually caravans of folks who head up there to help. Irene, what was it that you got? 6. You overheard some folks in town just a couple days ago talking about how Morningstar, which is a town just a short distance to the west, through the fields and across the marshes, was seeking a group for escort through the emotional storms on the Grey Wind Path. And Lapis, what was it that you had?
5.
Okay. You overheard some talk as you were flying around that the haunted are seeking someone to collect certain types of plants that they need for their apothecary. You are aware that the haunted actually no, we'll stop there and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens from that. I'm not sure who knows what about the haunted.
That's Lapis and I. They want you to help through the emotional thing. So I was like, fly away, go, 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 go.
Question, Emma.
Yes.
Dungeon Master.
Yes.
Story Weaver, that's what it is.
I can be both.
Where am I from directionally?
Where do you want to be from directionally?
I don't know.
What I would say originally you were probably, hold please, I do have a map. Map ish. I would say that you are probably from the east.
Okay.
I would say east.
Okay. All of these directions sound fine.
Okay. So we've got, this is just Val. So we've got haunted ones and their apothecary, escort through the emotional planes, and what was...
To the north, there's hamlets who typically need extra care during the colder months, and there's caravans that go up and help during those times, right?
Yes. Yep. And if you have questions about any of these places, we can unpack that. I wanted to hold off to see who decided to share what, and then we can do some rolls to see about
emotional storms. They seem interesting.
Yep.
I kind of want to go there.
I kind of want to go there, mostly because of the name.
Same mood, that.
Yeah, it was like emotional storms. It was like, go on.
As
really
Anders
like,
put in chat, this game is an emotional storm.
No.
So worried. I was like, I wonder. I really hope someone rolls for that. And then I was like, oh, it happened.
Well, I think fate has drawn the 4 of us, including Emma, to this particular thread.
So what would you like to do?
I will bring up what I know. As we're gathering all of our things and I will say, you know, I haven't really been, well, anywhere, but there's this group that's looking to go to the west, and I was thinking that maybe we could go with them. Kind of. Well, I want to see more of, well, everything. But, you know, maybe we can help them out. Maybe they can help us out.
I like going west.
Caw.
There is with winter coming, there's some hamlets up north that need extra help, and I've been having the magic in the shop make blankets and things, but I don't have to deliver them. We can just put them in the caravan and then we can go. We
Oh,
can
that
go
sounds great.
west.
Caw.
Do I speak with animals? I think I do.
That means yes.
I do. I can cast speak with animals at will. I'm going to cast speak with animals, and I'm going to ask Lapis. Lapis, what's your suggestion?
I know the haunted ones are looking for help with plants for their apothecary, but it is not an urgent requirement.
Okay.
Perhaps west would be good.
Maybe west will be good. Okay.
Does Lapis want to go west?
Caw.
I just kind of uh-huh.
Lapis and Irene, if you want to roll to see if you know what the haunted are, you can. It would be a... I was immediately thinking of Savage Worlds, and I was like, it would be a common knowledge roll. You can roll... And Irene, if you convey the information to Tate, you're welcome to roll too. But let's say it would be a... I would say history or arcana.
I know those things.
I
Do
do
you-
too. Yeah.
Do you
yeah.
relay the information to me?
100%.
Cool. Those are my skills.
They're mine too. Well,
Those are not my skills.
I got a 15.
29.
God.
Whoa!
Whoa.
I'm a druid, so it makes sense that I got a natural 1.
Irene, you're only aware that they are connected to some sort of plane of existence. Tate, you know that the haunted are a group of individuals and spirits and ghosts who live on the haunted plane, which is a space that exists at the crossroads of the elemental plane of the dead, the elemental plane of spirit, and the plane of twilight. And you must travel through one of those planes in order to have access and find the haunted. And you know that they are called this because they are not only haunted by their past lives, their past regrets, their sorrows, their choices, but they are also in charge of haunting those who remain on our plane.
I relay all of that.
Out of character, you said land of the dead, and Valdis went, I'm going. Let's leave now. No. And then they're like, they haunt people in their past lives and their past regrets. I'm like, I love psychopomps, but boy howdy.
Boy howdy. And if excuse you. If you would if any of you want to roll buddy. Sorry y'all. Loki he wants pets. He's mad when I don't pet him. If any of you would like to roll to see what the emotional storms are, that that would probably be a golly. Where's Matthew? What kind of role would this be?
Is it related to nature? Or is it more related
oh,
to
nature.
like...
That's a roll. Yeah. No, it is. It totally is actually. Yes, nature roll. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. I was
So
like, there's something.
I got a natural 20, and then plus 6 is 26.
All right.
I got a 16.
11.
Okay.
I like the flip flops,
The
and it's just
flip-flop.
me in the middle for both of them.
Yep. So, Lapis, you know that the emotional storms, that there are emotional storms that exist. No, I am not. I just know how knowledgeable you are, Matthew, and I really feel better when you're around and I have to make decisions about things sometimes. So so you are aware that there are emotional storms all over. And sometimes they exist in pockets, and you know that sometimes they are affected by those who are there, and sometimes they are affected by the time of year. And you know that on the Grey Wind path, there's particular set of storms that tend to be more active just prior to the winter months, and they tend to be pretty vicious, and they are typically random and change quite quickly. But emotional storms are exactly that. They are storms that consist of different emotions, which will have an impact on those who are traveling. So when traveling through emotional storms, you know that it's better to do it in groups.
Like, that's going to be a thing for Lapis, and I really want to do it.
Okay.
But only if we all decide to go together.
I like west. That's my favorite direction to go.
It's very interesting. Well, then let's go and see who this group is, or rather, is it the city of Morningstar that's looking for a group to escort people? Or is it a specific group of people that is
Nope,
looking?
it's in Morning. All you heard, the only thing that you know is that it's that in Morningstar, which is just to the west, there were folks who were seeking a group for escort through the Grey Wind path.
Got it. We should.
So you're not sure who.
We should then make our way there to figure out who. Sounds like a good place to start, at least.
It does. Hold on. Wait. Question, Dungeon Master.
Yes.
Have I been to Morningstar before? And if so, do I know where teleportation circles there are?
Have you?
Just saying I could get us there in an instant if we wanted. Or if other people would prefer to walk, because there's something nice about walking to a place, we could do that.
How far away is it, roughly?
I would say probably just a couple of hours by foot.
Oh.
That's not bad.
Then we should walk.
Yeah.
Teleportation circles are expensive.
I just have one thing I want to do as we are leaving, but it will not interrupt the walk.
Are you a crow still?
Yes.
I will
Okay,
relay
then I
this
didn't
information.
understand that.
I can do this for 10 minutes.
I just nod.
Yeah, and I'll ask, where do you need to go?
Oh, just in the woods. Don't worry about it. I'll be back soon.
Do you want company? And I point to both Kylie and also the other raven.
Yes. That would be nice.
Okay.
Tate hears, caw-caw, caw-caw.
But also from me. Ha-ha!
So Lapis, you head off into the woods briefly, is that right?
Yeah, Lapis... Oh, did I?
No, I was going to say, what do you do?
Lapis is going to fly into the woods, and she's going to go roughly to the same spot with the stream and the brook that she went before. But this time, she's going to transform back into her normal self when she lands. And she's going to walk over to this big, giant oak tree. And she's going to go up on her tippy toes and wrap her arms around it and go, "Good morning, Vigo. Are you well today? I'm afraid I must go on a trip. But do not worry, I will ensure that you are protected whilst I am gone." And Lapis is going to use a subdued form of plant growth. And the way she does it, which no one has seen her do, is Lapis begins to gently dance. And the magic flows around her fingers as she stretches it out. And the plants grow with her and around this space. And the petals bloom and the seeds pods go poof. And the tree just sort of looks revitalized and renewed. And there's a space, I think it's 15 feet, where everything that was starting to get a little bit downy just starts to bloom and grow again. And when she's done, she gives Vigo a little bow, and she says, "I'll be back soon, I promise." And she will transform into a raven again and fly back to the other two.
All right. So, as you gather yourselves and prepare to leave and head out west, is there any final thing that anyone would like to do in Dawn Call before you depart? All right. So you make your way over to the town of Morningstar. It's a beautiful day, and there is a road that will take you there that cuts through some fields and through some marshes. And along the way there, you see other travelers making their way. and you begin to see, a couple hours later, you see off in the distance, unless you would like to take some time to roleplay through your walking time. Okay. And so you see, sort of approaching you from the distance, you see what can only be the town of Morningstar, because there is nothing else between Dawn Call and this other town. And it is somewhat similar to Dawn Call. However, it is very much a town for, it's very much a town of the arcane. And so you see that there is this smaller town down below, but as you sort of are looking around and getting your bearings, you realize that the actual town of Morningstar is floating up above. It is on a floating island. You see that there are a handful of them, and you see that down below you appear to be approaching sort of a hub that allows people to travel to and from the town of Morningstar. And it is as you get closer that you begin to see that there are various sort of floating arcane balls of energy of a variety of different shapes that take you up and down and are traveling to and from sort of these other smaller parts of Morningstar. And you see that there is incredible light coming from this city. It appears to be bright. As you approach the sort of hub down below, you see that it's really just consisting of one small building, and you see that it's quite busy. There are a variety of different types of people there that appear to be doing all sorts of business and trade. Some look like they are wizards who are studying. Some look like they are travelers. Some look like they are just traders. And you see that there is a line that has formed of people who are sort of being broken up into the different places where you can get onto these sort of arcane energies and travel up into Morningstar. What would you like to do?
Well, if we're impatient, and I'm not saying I am, but if we are, I could just make us fly. I don't like lines.
I was like, you just see Lapis on your shoulder go.
I look at Irene.
I have never
Up and
flown.
away?
I've never flown before. Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna go over to Irene and hold out a hand.
We'll take it.
I'm going to reach into my component pouch and pull out 2 feathers that are sort of a tawny color dotted with little black specks. And I'm going to put one in Irene's hand and hold on to mine, and then with the other empty hand, grasp Irene's and cast fly on the both of us. But still hold Irene's hand as this happens.
And what does it look like when you cast fly?
The 2 feathers just sort of begin to shimmer and then almost dissipate into like pink and purple sparkles. And as that happens, our bodies sort of become weightless. And we begin to start to lift off the ground.
Oh, this is weird.
A little bit, yeah. We're not like birds, so we can't flap our wings and like control the air currents. But it's magic, so you can trust it. It's safe.
As you say this, Lapis is just doing little loops around you guys.
And so you lift up, and you can see that some people are sort of like gawking at you, like, and other people are sort of like, and
Rude people.
And you make your way up, and you can feel the warmth on your body. Irene, what does it feel like for you, having never flown before? What is this like?
It is less terrifying than she thought it would be. I think she knows magic. She's used magic. This is a different magic. And I think once she kind of gets the idea of it, she's just everywhere. She's probably racing Lapis a little bit as they're going up, and kind of marveling at this floating city because she's also from a floating city, and it's weirdly nostalgic. This isn't my floating city, is it?
It is not. No.
Okay. I was like, I don't remember.
No.
Okay, cool. But yeah, it's kind of it's weird to see another floating city that's not one that she recognizes. She didn't know that they were so popular.
And as you see that the bottom of this city is sort of it looks a bit jagged, but as you sort of get closer to it, you realize it is not jagged rock, but it is actually just hunks of energy below this city, as if this city were sort of ripped out of some sort of arcane substance that remains there. And you can see that some of the energies are sort of shifting and moving around underneath this. And you can hear this gentle, quiet hum that is not sort of invasive to your own headspace, but is actually kind of comforting. And you rise up and you see that there's this beautiful, bright city. The buildings are sort of a variety of different sizes. Some are quite tall and some are quite squat, but they are all made out of different types of marbles of sorts. Some of them are like this iridescent blue, and some of them appear to be like this shimmery white. Some of them look kind of like that oyster shell color, and some of them are this sort of deep, rich black. And you can feel that there is a busyness in this city, that there is a hum of energy here. And as you see that there's this sort of like a variety of different landing pads that are there, but otherwise you can land wherever you see fit. The streets are quite busy with people. You see that there are fountains, some of which are water and some of which appear to just be more arcane energy. You see that there are a variety of different shops with signs out front. You see that there are not hamlets, that there are neighborhoods that are in here. Where is it that you would like to land, y'all?
If there's grass, I want to land in the grass. No, I want to float down and lay on my back in the grass.
I'll just come to a rest on one foot, just daintily like a ballerina landing next to Irene. I love magic. In the spell.
Yep, you totally find a patch of grass. You see that there are some beautiful wildflowers that are growing here. There are, the wildflowers are sort of, almost as if they are dancing, but you see that it is just that they are sort of vibrating and humming with some kind of energy. And you are now in the town of Morningstar. And actually, would we be all right if we took our break here?
Yeah.
Right. So everyone, they've just landed in Morningstar. We're gonna take like a very quick, 5-minute break, and then we shall return shortly. Go have some water and some food, everybody. So, thank you for those who stayed around to find out what happens next. I hope you are all hydrating and consuming food and being nice to yourselves. Let's see what's happening. So, for those of you who are just joining us, the group has made their way over to Morning Star, which is a city of the arcane, and they have just landed on this floating city and are aware that there's someone in this town, or some group of people in this town are seeking escort through the emotional storms of the Grey Wind Path.
Irene,
Mm-hmm.
do you happen to know who these people are? Or who they were going to look for help?
No. But I'm sure we could ask. I mean, maybe there's a I don't know, a posting, we should go find the center of town. Maybe there's like a notice board or something. It's there. We should have landed there.
I like this grass though. It's soft.
It is. It's kind of like dancing. Just gonna play with some of the flowers. Right. Let's go. She'll get up.
Flap, flap, flap.
So I'm either trying to find
Yes.
something in the center of town that
Sure.
is like a notice board, or a fairly busy building location with a lot of people, so I can talk to people and say, hey yo, hey you.
Hey yo.
Hello. Hey yo.
All right, why don't you go ahead, roll me a survival check to see if you maybe saw that on your way up here and can recall how to get there.
Well, that's a natural one.
Can I try rolling one?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who wants to do that.
Which is
That's a
fitting
t-
because I don't do anything.
It's a 25.
I'm thoroughly distracted and looking at all the new clothes that people are wearing. Thank you.
So Lapis, you, while you were sort of up in the air and flying around, you feel like you saw perhaps what might have been sort of like a central area. You don't know if there was like a board or anything there, but you saw that there seemed to be some sort of area that looked busier than the others.
Lapis kind of turns from her position on Tate's shoulder and just opens her beak like, "Arr." And just kind of hops to the ground, and you see her transform back into her normal form. And she turns around and says, "There's a center. That way."
I want to reach and kind of hook arms with Tate and with Lapis and say, let's go on an adventure together. And I'm gonna start taking the two of them.
Are we supposed to be skipping?
I was just about to ask that.
I think we absolutely should.
The Wizard of Oz shuffle, perhaps?
It happens. Dungeons and Dragons. Skipping edition.
Here we go. It's happening.
The frolicking.
That's right.
Frolic.
Frolicking. Okay, so you sort of wind your way there. It takes you sort of a little bit. These streets, some of them seem to be kind of narrow. Some of them seem to be a little bit wider. They don't seem to have any sort of uniform style to them. And you see that there are many vendors that you are passing by. You see a number of different shops that you've never seen before. You see some of them specialize in adventuring, some in the arcane, some in, you see an apothecary, you see a greenhouse, you see a tavern or two. You see like a distillery. You see all sorts of things as you are making your way down to this sort of central hub. And when you get to this central area, you see that it is significantly busier than the other streets. and you see that there is a sort of this main fountain that also has a statue, but the statue is not of any particular person. The statue is actually of it looks like a giant glowing crystal, sort of, that is sitting there and kind of rotating and shivering there in this central area.
How do the people around the crystal seem to be acting?
They actually, no one seems to be paying it any mind, as if this thing is here all the time. No one feels weird. Nothing seems off about it. It just appears to be this crystal statue.
Can I go touch it?
Yeah, sure. Yes, you can.
I want to go touch the thing.
Okay, you go up and you touch the thing, and when you put your hand on it, you can feel this gentle sort of, it feels almost like water begin to like wash down your arm. And it feels like pure energy, but in a soft and warm sense.
I love magic. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to touch it.
Okay. Nothing weird happens.
Lapis is gonna walk over while Taste is touching it and gonna take out a piece of silver and just go, I am aware of this custom. We present tribute to the fountain in the hopes that it will not devour us. There you go, fountain. Now you are fed.
Meanwhile, I'm just gonna go talk to some people.
All right. That's how fountains work, y'all. Okay, so
Truth facts.
you go around and talk to some people. Why don't you think for a moment about who it is that you see in this square? And I have to go let my dear, sweet Josie in, because I can hear her barking. So I shall return in just the hottest of seconds.
That's fine.
Lapis, I'm sure the fountain is very grateful for your feeding it.
It's like the water is staring into my soul.
It is very alive water, yes.
She's gonna bend down and whisper to it. I'm gonna give you another silver. Don't eat Tate if he touches the crystal again.
Thank you for protecting me, Lapis.
You are welcome.
I will wave to the water as I walk away.
And when you toss that coin into the fountain, you see that it lands, and instead of these droplets coming up like a splash, these droplets come up and sort of seem to form a shape, and you see that it looks kind of like you can't quite tell, but they seem to be childlike, and they take the coin and they are tossing it back and forth to one another a few times before one of them grabs it and begins running around the fountain and disappears back into the water.
The water is taunting us.
I think it was thanking you.
Oh, well in that case, you are welcome. Pat, pat, pat.
Splash, splash, splash.
Lapis also is completely like has gloves on and like things, so she splashes and her entire arm gets super wet.
Irene, who is it that you see around there that you want to speak to?
I think I see sitting nearby an elderly couple who look like perhaps they're just enjoying a nice day out and about. But they aren't in the midst of conversation. They seem to just be seated. And I will, with much respect, approach them and say, hello. Do you have can I ask you a question?
And you see that the one of them sort of like looks at you curiously, because these are not what are this elderly couple appear to be two elderly sort of bird-like people, not Kenku, but that they appear to just sort of have feathers coming off of their face. They don't have any beaks or anything, but that's why they are merely bird-like. And you can see that they are a bit older because you can see wisps of sort of gray feathers coming out here and there.
Yes, hello. What can I help you with?
My friends and I are new in town, but we heard that there were some people who were trying to go through the storms nearby, and we were wondering if you knew anywhere to find them or anything like that, because we don't really know where to go.
Oh, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but you could probably go and perhaps ask some of the, perhaps you could try one of the shops. The shopkeepers seem to know much more about this city than, my husband, Earl, and I do. My name is Dandelion. What's yours?
My name is Irene.
Irene, that's a beautiful name.
Thank you. It's very nice to meet you, Dandelion.
It is so lovely to meet you, too. Do you live here in town, or are you just passing through?
I live in a town very much like this, but it isn't this one, although it does float like this one.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
I've lived here all my life.
How is this place?
It's magical. It's quite nice. It can get a bit blustery. So high up here, the winds can be terrible.
Well, I will let you get back to your day. Thank you very much for
You have a lovely day. Say hello to your friends. Be well.
I'll just kind of wave, and I'll look back to the splashing, and I'll just kind of give them like a kind of look. I suggest we probably should find someone who maybe runs a shop here. They might know a little bit more about what we're looking for. Did you have a nice swim?
I fed the water demon that lives in the fountain, and now we are friends.
Yup,
Oh.
that's what happened.
Oh. Well. Kind of looks over at the water. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do a quick 180 and see if there's any, like, shops nearby.
There are many shops nearby. What kind of shop are you looking for?
Oh no. Let's see.
Shop that sells scrolls.
So like an arcane shop?
Magic shop.
Are you looking for a magic shop?
Magic shop, please.
Shop?
I love a magic shop. Are we looking?
Magic shops.
I think we're looking for a
At
magic
least
shop.
taters.
I think that would be fantastic.
Magical
Yes.
curios and what's nots.
You see that there.
Magic. We're looking for a magic shop.
You see that there are a couple. You see that there is a place that is called Grave Concoctions. You
Ooh.
also see that there is a place called Moon Maidens. Those both seem like they would be. What kind of beer?
That's a wee mac. It's a Scottish.
Ah,
A wee mac.
Wee Mac.
a wee mac.
Okay,
All right.
so you said the
what
second
do you-
one's. You said the second one's called the Moon Maidens. What was the first one called again?
Grave Concoctions.
Ah.
Oh.
I like the moon, but I'm
I-
also a fan of concoctions.
We could go to both.
¿Por qué no las dos?
Why not both?
I'm going to take out a gold coin. All right. Maidens is head and concoctions is tails. And I'm gonna actually flip a coin.
Hey.
The secret 8 dice of D&D.
Moon Maidens it is.
Okay, so you head over to Moon Maidens. And Moon Maidens is appears to sort of be an active room. You see that there are floating broomsticks. You see that there are floating candles. You see that there appear to be also like sort of floating lantern things that are providing light in this room. You see at one point that there's like a chair that's just walking across the floor that kind of stops and turns, and what if it had a face, it would be looking at you, and then it sort of nods and keeps continuing to walk across the floor. You see that there are shelves everywhere, but they are not messy. They are very tidy. And you see that this shop is filled with all sorts of alchemical ingredients. You see that there are tomes. You see that there are scrolls. You see that there are supplies for all sorts of arcane work. And then you see sitting at the back there are, you are unsure if they are triplets or if they just happen to look identical, but there are 3 young, sort of femme presenting individuals who are dressed in white and black, and their hair is incredibly long. It stretches lower than the counter. That's sort of like wavy and loose and flowy, but it is almost sheer white. And they are all standing there reading from one book, and they look up to see all of you enter, and you see that there are no other patrons in here currently. And they sort of all at the same time sort of like give you a gentle nod, and they shut the book and put it underneath the counter. And you sort of hear the middle one say, "Welcome to Moon Maidens. What can we do for you?"
Hello, I am Lapis. We are looking for the ones who need escorting to the emotional storms. Do you know in which direction we should go?
You see the 3 of them kind of like look back and forth at one another and take a moment. And then they look back and say, "I would suggest going to speak to the Runeweaver Watch."
The
Is-
Runeweaver Watch?
Yes.
Do they have like is there an office we should go to, or are they just sort of around on the streets?
And you see that one of them sort of is, who has not spoken yet. "Are you new?"
Yes. Yeah. None of us
Oh.
have been here before.
Welcome to Morningstar. The Runeweaver Watch is probably the equivalent to a city guard. They watch over the town, but they also provide a fair number of deliveries to nearby towns since we are the major supplier in this particular region for all sorts of trade goods. You could find them. Sometimes they are on the eastern edge of the city, though sometimes they are on the northern edge of the city. If you head out the shop, you can either head straight or take a left.
Those are easy to follow directions. Thank you.
Just looking at all the things that are just moving in this shop. It's very distracted by everything.
What spell did you use to make these things move?
What do you mean?
This is a spell, right? You've cast a spell on that chair and now it walks around.
No, these things exist this way. There is no spell work in here.
Tate's mind gets a little blown for a second and just stands there.
Did you see the crystal out in the center square?
Oh, yes, I touched it.
Oh,
Was I not supposed to?
you see that one of them gets very excited, more animated than the others, and they run up to you, and they don't invade you, don't get that close, but they run up to you very excitedly and say,
So you touched it. Okay. Touch that
"Box over there."
Touch.
As soon as you touch this box that happens to be full of scrolls, you see that the box sort of, nothing happens for a moment, and then this box begins to sort of levitate off the ground, and you see it kind of like shake for a moment, and then it begins floating similarly to the other things in this room, and you see that it is trying to float out and find a new space to settle down, but is also getting used to the fact that it can move now.
Jade, I didn't know that you could do that.
I didn't know that I could do that. I knew that I think there's a spell that kind of does that, but not like that. This is how long does this last?
Oh, that box will now forever be sentient and aware of its own existence.
Is that a good thing?
I think that depends on who you ask, and depends on the home that they live in. They will be safe here, though.
Is there a way to ask the box?
Sometimes, after a few years, it becomes easier to communicate with them, but it really depends on what it is that you animate and what it is that comes to life with its own life force.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not sure what it is that a box would communicate with, so over time, you kind of just learn to communicate. It just takes time.
Okay. Well.
You
What
can
happens if
undo
I-
it if you wish.
Oh, no, it seems happier. What happens if I touch a different box? Is it gone now?
No.
How long can I touch boxes and they come to life?
Well, now that you have touched that crystal, for the remainder of the time that you are in this city, as soon as you leave the city grounds, it will no longer be active within you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. That yeah. We should all go touch the crystal. Like you two should.
During this conversation, Lapis went and sat down by some of the floating objects and has been chatting to them.
Okay. What
It's a
objects?
completely one-sided conversation, but she
Okay.
said, "Hello, how are you doing? Oh yes, I think it must be quite interesting. You don't say. Oh, my word. Oh, the things you have seen. I think, well, Boxington, tell me more." And then says about the crystal, she said, "Oh, are we leaving now?"
No, I just meant that if you go touch the crystal, you can also make boxes float and come to life. And that's really cool, so you should go touch the crystal, Lapis.
That is very interesting. Perhaps she's walking backwards towards the door as she's talking. Perhaps I shall go investigate the crystal, so I may record its effects, and therefore be a better helper to all those around me. I'm just going to go and quantify its effects. Okay, goodbye now. And you see, whoomph, out the door.
Irene's
Comes back.
Oh. Irene's gonna whisper over her shoulder to her sword that's just kind of in a sheath behind her, and she says, "Is this what you are?"
What does it say in response?
I think it just laughs. Does Lapis just like leave and then just come back like 2 seconds later?
Yes, with unnatural speed. She goes, boops the crystal, and then runs back. I have recorded the effects. It was very informative, and I believe I can be a more productive person in this group and help with all of our things. I'm just going to see how it works now, okay? I'm just going to touch the box.
Do you touch a box? Or do you touch something else?
Oh, actually, you know what? I am going to touch... I wonder if it will work on shelves. I can make the shelf float. No, you know what I want to see? Is there any more chairs?
Yes. There's chairs and there's stools in here.
I'm going to animate a stool.
Okay.
Boop.
And you see, again, it pauses for a moment, and then you see this stool, they're like the stool legs sort of like begin to walk as if they have joints now. And it begins to start sort of shaking and moving kind of like a dog. And you see that it starts to get excited and it starts sort of hopping around the store a bit like a puppy, and it like bumps into one of the other stools as it figures out how to move its own legs.
Babies.
And you see that the three who own this store are like very excited about more things being animated in here that they have not animated.
Lapis is way too invested in this power and this stool now.
So should we go find the rune watch now?
I think Irene kind of just looks over at Lapis, who's just like transfixed on all these things now. I think we should. I'll go over to Lapis. Lapis, I think we should go. We can come back.
Of course, we have an objective to complete. We must accomplish our goal.
But if we find some, rocks or things outside, maybe they can join us.
That would be a good addition to our group. It is always handy to have advice from rocks. I find their intentions are quite sweet.
Solid? Oh.
Solid. I was gonna say solid, I was like, don't make that pun for the love of God.
It's me! I do it for you.
But thank you. Before she just kind of lean down and give the stool scritches. And then follow everybody.
The stool gets very excited about this, and just before you leave, you hear one of the moon maidens say, "Do be careful with that, though. If you animate too many things, then actually the Rune Weaver Watch will find you."
That's very good to know. Thank you.
Well, if we're looking for them, maybe we should just go animate a bunch of rocks.
Oh, I don't think you would want them to find you after doing that. There is a strict code of ethics in terms of animating the things that are around here.
I suppose that does make sense.
is there a way to touch things and not animate them? Because otherwise, we're not. Are we still allowed to touch things?
And you see that one of them behind the counter actually has pulled out this drawer and put it on top, as you were saying this, on top of the counter. And now that you're looking, you see that all of them are wearing gloves. And in this drawer, you see that there are many different sets of gloves. If you would like, you could take one of these. We give them away to visitors for free if they happen to do exactly what you did.
Got it.
I am already covered. Thank you, though.
Oh, God, that's right. Lapis wears gloves!
I forgot, too.
I will go over and I will look at all of the gloves very carefully to find the most stylish pair.
You find that pair.
I don't normally wear gloves. It's one too many accessories, and less is more, but needs must.
And when you put them on, you sort of feel that they actually blend to your skin a bit. And it doesn't feel like you're wearing gloves at all.
I want to learn how to make these too.
Oh, those are quite special. If you ever want to apprentice here, you let us know.
Maybe on the way back.
I will open the door as I don't have the touch. And I will say, after you. And I'll kind of like gesture to the other two who are here.
One of the Moon Maidens will go up to Lapis and hand you a pair of gloves that look almost identical to the ones that you are wearing. Here, you'll need these. Or don't touch anything. It's up to you.
Oh, I see. Could I borrow your counter for a second?
The whole thing? The whole counter? Do you need it to go?
Yes. Well, not in a sense. I just need to borrow it for 2 seconds, and then I shall return it in one piece.
The whole counter?
Yes.
Okay. She's gonna look at her sisters and look back at you.
Thank you so much. And Lapis is just gonna walk around the counter, bend down, and stand back up again. Thank you for lending me your counter. It is still in one piece.
You're welcome.
Irene has walked outside.
The three are just like little birds just.
Lapis, should we go? Gently lead Lapis outside.
Lapis is just looking like, I think this is some sort of new social exchange. Goodbye.
So north
I go
or
left.
left it is.
Right. You head down and you see that you pass many more shops. Did any of you want to go into the other one? Or did you want to make your way over to the Rune Weavers? This town is going nowhere. It's up to y'all.
Perhaps we should visit on the way back.
Okay. So you make your way over. And you sort of weave through these streets to the left as best as you can. And finally you see that there is in fact a building there. And you see out front there is this sort of metal sign but it's hung on the front. It's not hanging at all, but it's a metal sign hanging on the front that says the Rune Weaver Watch. And you see that there's a big wooden door. And the door just opens.
Thank you. I'm
you
okay.
head inside and you see that this place actually looks almost like it could be a tavern of sorts or like a den. It's very cozy and warm. It's all wood inside of here. There's a lovely little fire going, but it doesn't feel too warm. It just feels cozy. And you see that there is a wide range of people who are in here. There appear to be, there's some sort of like a series of desks that are in here with one main central table, and on the main central table you see that there are several different types of maps, there's journals, there's quills and pens, and vials of ink, and you see that there are a couple of tieflings. You notice some dwarves in here, but then you also see that there are like more of those bird-like people, and you also see that there are a couple that almost look like insects, and they are all sort of like busy and walking around, and none of them seem to have like a semblance of dress to indicate that they are part of the watch, except that they all have an emblem either on their chest or on their arm that looks literally like a very simple rune, but it is glowing just a bit, so it stands out.
I'm sorry, I just noticed Anda's new zoo name.
Yep. It's delightful.
I will simply approach someone who doesn't look too terribly busy.
Sure, yeah. You see that there is there appears to be a tiefling who is not particularly busy. They have a shaved head, and their horns kind of go straight back. They seem to be like they're middle-aged. They're wearing some leathers, and they're sort of standing over a desk, just kind of like examining some papers that are written in what appears to be some sort of runic language.
I can read all languages.
Okay, so
Written languages.
yeah. So what you were able to see is that these are actually different recipes for the same dish. They are all just slightly different. It's like a stew of sorts. But they are intently staring at these 3 different recipes.
I will walk up, and after a small moment, I'll point to the one that's in like the center, and I'll say, that one I think will be a bit sweeter.
Do you think so?
It seems to have a bit more of a sugar base to it, so I think so.
I'm really worried. You know, I need to make dinner later, and I know that this isn't technically part of my job. But my partner loves stew, and I just wanted to make her a nice meal.
Well, I mean, they're all lovely, but I would go with that one.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. It'll be okay. I'm gonna do it. And they like pick it up and like roll it up and like put it in their bag and then turn around and look at you and say, I'm sorry. Who are you?
Hello. I am Irene. I am kind of gesturing over to where my friends are. We heard that perhaps there was some people who needed some assistance traversing the emotional storm that had popped up around here.
Irene, lovely to meet you. My name is Hilda. Hilda Strawhelm. I'm sorry. My it's a long story about how. Anyway, so yes, we've been looking for a group. We have to deliver some alchemical supplies and a bit of food and stuff to a group in the town of Pell.
Am I familiar where this town is?
I don't know. Are you?
Probably not, unless it's like a really old town.
It is a very old town.
Oh, then I might have read about it.
Okay, why don't you roll a history check?
If my memory serves me, that is only a 13.
Okay. Well, you are at least aware that Pell is sort of an old town. There are some ruins on the outskirts of it from the Second Arcane Age, so they're relatively old. And in that town, you're at least familiar that there's a lot of like druids who are there.
Cool. I just kind of like motion to the other two to. Yeah, we were interested in helping with that, if we can.
Absolutely. We have a lot of deliveries that need to be made through there, so we're trying to sort of split that up while also maintaining things here, and it's easier when you ask for help. Hello, Irene's friends.
Oh,
My name is Hilda.
this is Tate. Tate makes really good clothes, and I'm just gonna like very covertly. And this is Lapis. Lapis is very lovely.
Hello, I am Lapis.
Hello, Lapis. I am Hilda.
I stay over by the door and I pull my hat a little lower.
I do like your hat. That is a good hat. Okay. So, yeah, I can draft up a contract. So for payment, we can give you half of your payment now, and the rest of it upon the delivery.
That sounds. I kind of look over at Lapis since Tate's not here. That sounds good. Yeah.
As long as we are guaranteed the rest of our cut.
While Hilda's distracted, I'm gonna meander over to Tate's. And I'm gonna say, Tate, what you doing?
I don't like guards.
I mean, they're not quite like guards, but do you want me to stay with you?
No, I'm fine over here. In the shop they said that if we touch too many things with the magic, we'd get in trouble with the guards. And yet nowhere have we seen any signs that say that that's a rule. And I don't like it when you don't know the rules, but you get in trouble for breaking them anyway. So I'm gonna just stay by the door.
Oh, okay. I'll be right over there. Okay? Just go back over to Lapis as we were waiting for Hilda to write up the contract.
So Hilda drafts up the contract, and it says that each of you will be paid. Each of you will be paid 500 gold now, and then you will get 500 gold upon delivery.
Okay. Are there any extra stipulations?
Nope, it's a very like straightforward contract. If it doesn't get delivered, you get to keep the 500, but you will not get any 500 for the delivery if the delivery fails. The only stipulation is that you have to get it there within a week.
Okay.
Now let us discuss hazard pay.
All right.
I do not wish for anything in monetary value, but should things go awry, it would be helpful if we could ask you a question.
Well, you can ask as many questions as you like. Is your friend all right? They're gonna need to sign this too.
Oh, he's fine. I will take the contract over to him.
Okay.
I take the contract over to Tate to get decided. Go back. It's like, you should really have signs up that say if you touch too many things and animate them, then you will get in trouble.
Well, we've heard that a lot recently, but we don't usually have many visitors. I'm like suddenly going southern with this. We don't usually have that many visitors in town, so we've been kind of debating whether or not we should actually do that. But we also just kind of the whole point is that, well, you want to be cognizant of what you do with your hands. So that was really, we didn't think we needed to put anything up, but perhaps we do.
Sometimes authority can be scary, especially in a new place. When you are from outside of it, authority can be intimidating if you do not know the rules. And not all authority is nice. Some authority is not very nice at all. It puts people at ease if they know that things are bad in this place straight away. Then they know what not to do, and they do not have to be afraid.
I've never thought of it like that. Hey, Deja! We need to get those signs up! And you see this dragonborn sort of like come out. She looks a bit older, but she's got these long 2 braids, and she comes out, and you see her kind of like wave, and you see her go into the corner and mark something down and then head out the door.
I signed the contract because I realized I hadn't done that yet.
Is that what is concerning your friend over there? Is it the authority piece? We're more like guardians, not, guards. But tell him he'll be okay.
I think he will need to see proof of that before he can trust the word of someone he does not know. But I will tell him.
That's fair.
So where is what we're taking? Where?
So, we'll get you a cart. We'll get you some supplies and some mode of transportation. We'll get you some supplies for yourselves as well. You need to take a cart over into Pal and deliver it to the werewolves of the Forgotten Claw. They are in desperate need of some alchemical supplies that they can only get here. They've been running low as a result of these storms, so that's why we're a little desperate to get it out to them. They can wait a little bit longer, but that's why it really can't be more than a week.
Well, then we should probably get going soon.
I would prepare yourselves. These storms they're always dangerous, but they're worse this time of year for some reason. They always have been. We all know that, but just be safe and careful. Oh, and here. And they turn around and they dig around in their desks. They're opening drawers, and they finally pull out this small crystal that's kind of wrapped around. It looks like it's supposed to be a necklace, but the string is just slightly too small, and they hold it out. You can communicate with us if you have any concerns or needs. Take that. It'll be a direct line to this office. Someone will pick it up.
I'll wrap it around my wrist so it has like a little dangle bangle.
Sure.
Perfect. Look to Lapis.
Oh, and you need your... And they reach around and pull out another drawer and then flip back around and put down 3 sort of bags of coin.
Oh, right. I'll grab 2 of them.
Lapis is going to take the one and be like, "Wonderful. There are more seeds to plant now. Thank you for this. I will plant many trees with them."
Do you want seeds? Is that a currency where you're from? I can get you seeds.
Oh, these are seeds, are they not?
Hilda's gonna look over at Irene.
Sure. They can't. I don't know. Maybe.
Will you look in there and tell me if those are the seeds that you want?
Yes, they are like the wages Tate gives me. I am trying to figure out how to grow them into trees.
Oh.
They're gonna like turn around and pull something out of their personal pocket and hand Lapis another small bag that feels a little heavy, but is full of something. This one is full of a variety of different types of seeds.
Oh, this is lovely. Oh,
My partner's a gardener.
I have so many seeds. Are you sure you don't want the shiny ones back?
No, those are yours.
Oh, thank you so much. This is a very lovely gesture. I will plant more in my grotto. I wonder what they shall be.
I'm gonna
Jangle, jangle.
I'm gonna walk back over to Tate and hand them a bag of gold coins.
I'm gonna walk over to Tate and say, "The Guardian said that there is no need to worry, for you shall not be in trouble. I have recommended they put up signs, and they will be doing it forthwith."
Thank you, Lapis. That's good. Good. Glad to hear that. Should we go? Are we done?
We're getting a
We have
cart. We're
most of
getting
that.
some stuff. Just gotta bring some stuff to some werewolves, and it'll be fine.
I go outside.
I follow.
I follow.
I turn to Irene and I'm like, "I wonder what emotional storms are."
Well, I've never been in one. You remember last night? Do you remember that butterfly feeling?
Yes?
There are some feelings that are like that, but they don't feel as good. And I'm hoping this is not one of those storms.
I would not worry about that. I just figured emotional storm was some sort of metaphor. Like the storm is very dark or very blue.
Well, it might be those things too, but I think it's a pretty literal storm that changes or charges emotions. So it's gonna be very. We'll just have to trust each other a lot, and it'll be an adventure.
Lapis looks at you like she's not quite able to process. And then just goes, yes, an adventure.
Have you not been on an adventure before?
I have been wandering for a little while. My auntie told me to go and find something. I have yet to find it. But until I met Tate, my adventures were a solitary one. I just walked and walked and walked.
I guess that can be an adventure, but it sounds lonely.
At the country, I had the plants to talk to and the animals to converse with.
What did she, if I can ask, tell you to find? Maybe we can keep an eye out for it.
She asked me to recover something that was lost a little while ago. I told her I did not remember where I left it. But I do. Shall we go? The werewolves need their supplies. It would be an awful shame if we were to delay.
Okay. If you need help finding it again, we can help you. But only if you want us to. And only if you want to find it again.
It is something I don't know if I want to find it again. It is confusing. A different sort of butterfly. This is more like a storm. But I do not know if I am in the eye of it or I am being swallowed by it. Hello, I am Lapis. Shall we attend to the supplies?
Irene will just nod. And the raven will kind of come and just land on your shoulder again. Just give you like a little peck.
I do very much like this raven.
So, you are outside of the Runeweaver Watch. You do notice now that Deja, that individual, is currently, you see that there are signs that are now sort of floating. They don't exist in one singular place. They kind of seem to be like rotating and spinning around and making their way down streets. Deja's sort of wandering around trying to like put these signs up. And they instructed you to leave and head back toward the entrance, and head back down. And at the base, you will find your sort of your cart with the supplies.
Irene, would you like to fly again?
I suppose.
Well, we don't have to. You seemed to like it the first time, so we could fly again, or we could fly as animals if you wanted to try, flying with wings rather than magic. We could do that, or we could take a bubble thing.
I've never been an animal either.
Okay. Well, Lapis, you like being a crow. Irene, would you like to be a crow? Or something bigger? Or something faster?
I look at my catbird.
I think I can do that. Maybe.
Storyweaver nods, says yes.
Wait, I think I can only cast this on one thing.
Oh no.
Yeah, because it's concentration. I don't think I can cast it at a higher level and do both of us.
Is
Never
it
mind.
polymorph?
Yeah.
At higher levels, I think you can target.
Can I?
multiple- I don't know. I don't remember how polymorph works.
I'm gonna say yes for this because it's a beautiful moment and I'd like this to happen.
Okay.
So
I want it to
Storyweaver
happen.
says yes.
I'm going to offer a hand to Irene
I take it with both of mine.
and reach into a pocket and pull out a little caterpillar cocoon and squish it, and then sort of crumple the little bits of it up in my hand, and then just sort of sprinkle it over our conjoined hands, and they slowly shift into paws, and we're forced to let go as our arms become little cat legs and we turn into catbirds.
As you watch,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, go.
No, you.
I was gonna say, as Lapis watches it, she's like, perhaps I should have told them that I was out of wild shapes for today.
Oh.
Oh no.
I also have polymorph though. I was just like, I'm just watching it happen. Like, this is such a beautiful moment. I'm not gonna ruin it by being like, I ran out.
No.
So Lapis watches happen, says, I wonder if I should tell them I was out of wild shapes. Oh well. I'm a druid. She reaches into a pocket and just kind of floops and kind of sways her arms, and then her skin starts to transform into feathers as this blue sparkling gold light overtakes her, and she becomes a crow.
I spend about like 30 seconds sniffing my Kylie catbird and just like appreciating this familiar that's not, it is but it isn't also a catbird, and it's just I'm the same size. It's very strange. And then I
Imagining
fly.
all these little cat paws, like, just
Yeah.
gently.
Just like circling around and just like, and then I fly with my familiar.
And you
And also
take-
Tate. And also Lapis.
So you all take off, flying your way through this city, and you meander your way down below after taking, a bit of a tour around here. And you see that there is already a cart waiting for you, that is clearly yours. The cart is not seemingly pulled by anything, but it is a cart on wheels. You just see that there is sort of an empty space in front of it. But it's sort of moving and shifting as if there were creatures there, ready and prepared to pull this cart. You just can't see them. And it is full of some supplies. You see that it's covered so that you can be inside if need be. What would you like to do?
I'm a cat, so I will be a cat.
I will look at Irene and look at the cart and make big cat eyes as if asking, should we... Actually, I will meow at Irene. Meow, meow.
I'll just go up and just give you like a head boop.
Oh. There's a little purring, and then the spell ends.
And I think as it ends, our heads are still like touching.
Which is funny, because then a hat forms in your face.
No, it's like a little tent. I'm like under your hat.
Yeah.
Hello.
I mean, this hat is probably big enough for the both of us.
I'll just poke it. I'll duck out. And I'll hop up in the driver's seat.
Yeah, there's driver's seat.
I can drive. Sure.
I can't.
I'll pretend to know how to drive.
I'll hop up into the back of the cart, if there's room.
Sure. Yeah,
And
that's
we'll
very
spot a
spacious.
sip.
Gonna flap into the cart, and then gonna give it a You get like Lapis sort of is thinking, and then she lets the spell drop.
So, you begin going. You see that there is only one path that you can take currently, but not too far down the road. Also, the cart begins moving, and it's moving and shifting, and you can hear the clopping of footprints of hooves. You just can't see what is pulling your cart. And you move forward, and there's no reins. It just seemingly knows what to do. And it stops at a fork in the road. And you see that there's a sign above it, and you see that there is one arrow that says Grey Wind Path. And you see another arrow that says Dawn Call.
Ah. I look and I kind of like lean down to where there might be some sort of something driving the cart, and I say, and I just kind of point in the direction that we want to go.
And the cart backs up a little bit and veers off down towards Greywind Path. And you see that this landscape it's dotted by trees, but you see it's mostly fields right now. And you see off in the distance, you can see the hills and the mountains. But for now, you are traveling on a pretty standard, simple, straightforward path. I would like you all to roll a d8 for me.
I got a 7.
I got a 6.
I got a 1.
Okay. Tate, what is it? You got a 6?
Yup. I thought it was a 9 at first, but it's a D8, so...
Alright, but I did get a couple of D6s over the weekend that don't have a 1, they have a 7 on them, so... it's fine.
All right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. So, You make your way down this path. And you see that you begin to head closer down toward almost, it's kind of like a ravine, but you were at the base of it. And you can see up ahead that there are mists, and you can see that there are some low-hanging clouds in here. And you see that it is clearly the stormy area of Grey Wind Path. And you see as you approach on either side, there are signs. These aren't floating or anything. These are posts in the ground that say, proceed with caution. And the cart continues to move down this path. And you're heading directly into this mist, and you see that it just sort of begins to envelop you. And you No, go ahead.
I'm gonna cast Mage Armor on myself.
I'm gonna do the same thing.
Okay. So, you continue making your way forward. And you can feel that the air changes. The air grows heavy, begins to get warm, and it's been quite chilly. But the air grows heavy and it begins to grow warmer, almost as if there are fires on either side of you. And as you continue to feel this warmth kind of grow, you can feel that it begins to rain. And you can feel that a wind picks up. And as this wind picks up, you can feel that whatever creatures are pulling this begin to feel kind of unsteady and unsure of themselves, and you all begin to feel a fire growing inside your bodies. For Lapis, all you feel is a warmth that you are unable to identify. For Irene and Tate, you can feel that there is rage growing inside of you. There is an anger that is slowly blossoming and slowly burning and growing its way up your lungs and out of the mists. Tate, you see coming out of this mist a manifestation of your own rage and your own anger, and it is heading directly towards your cart. What does this look like?
All men. Clean, formal, well-cut robes. Well-groomed facial hair, dark eyes. And the coldest look of disdain on his face.
And you're able to recognize that he doesn't quite look as you remember. There are things about him that appear almost made out of millions of buzzing bees that are on fire. Almost as if it's not here, but also they are moving as he moves. And for the rest of you, you can feel just bubbling inside of you. And I would like you all to roll initiative.
Boy, not great, not great, not great.
Don't worry, I got you.
All right. 20 and up.
23.
15 to 20.
18.
Kate, what do you got?
7.
Okay. Okay. So.
Way to go, music. Well done.
I love it when that happens. Yeah.
I'm so
right.
excited.
So, this begins moving towards you. Irene, you are up first. Lapis, you are on deck. What would you like to do, Irene?
Well, I would like. Is it? Question: is it dark here? Or is
It's
really.
just misty. It's not
Misty,
necessarily dark.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna pull out my sword.
Okay.
Okay, and, let's see, I'm going to, do I get the sense that, does this figure look the same to us as it does to Tate?
Yes, you
Okay.
see exactly what Tate sees.
Okay.
However, for you, for Lapis and Irene, you can see more of this collection of these like almost tiny little fire creatures that make this thing up. For Tate, this individual seems more solid, and it's harder for him to sort of discern what is real and what is not.
Okay, so it's more like a clump of small things as opposed to one large thing. Does that make sense? Like a swarm of things rather than like a thing.
Yeah, you can. It sort of looks like that.
Okay. I am going to I'm going to cast a spell. I'm going to cast. Oh, nope, I lied. Yes, no, I am. I'm gonna cast.
It's okay. Take your time. Y'all have a lot of abilities.
There's a lot of things I can do. Okay, I'm going to cast a spell on my
Okay.
sword. And it kind of this sword, by the way, it's a long sword. It is this like dark, almost midnight blue color.
Okay.
With like this lighter kind of transition blue to where the blade is, like the edge of the blade. The sword itself, this like kind of purple, kind of like the extra like demi-plane place is
Okay.
is like
Oh! The top place. Everything's fine. We're going good.
Yay.
Cool.
Cool. This purpley glittery energy kind of clings to it as I cast Banishing Smite on my blade, and I'm gonna rush the creature
Sure.
thing and attempt to blade it.
Okay.
Okay. Hitting with attacks. I can do that.
I believe in you.
La 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 la. Oh, I remember why it was a... Hang on. Is it a long sword? Hang on. It's not a long sword. It's a short sword. Might be.
You're good.
Okay. Oh, boy. Okay, well, that is a 13 to hit, which is real good.
Okay. So talk me through what this looks like. You do not make it. What does it look like when Irene misses?
I think this, like, buildup of just this emotion coming out of nowhere, I think is a bit, causes her to swing perhaps a bit too early, and it just carves this, like, purple sparkly kind of energy that is on it, kind of leave this trail in front of this creature. It's not really anywhere close. And that's the only thing I can do right now.
So are you ending your turn up next to this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Lapis, you are up. Tate, you are on deck.
I'm just reading the spell for this because it's called Wrath of Nature, and it looks like for 1 minute all of these effects happen. So you call out to the spirits of nature to rouse them against your enemies. Choose a point you can see within range. The spirits cause trees, rocks, and grasses in a 60-foot cube centered on that point to become animated until the spell ends.
Okay, read that one more time?
Yeah, you call out to the spirits of nature to rouse them against your enemies. Choose a point you can see within range. The spirits cause trees, rocks, and grasses in a 60-foot cube centered on that point to become animated until the spell ends.
Okay.
Which is grasses and undergrowth, so it's now difficult terrain for my enemies.
Okay.
At the start of each of my turns, each of the enemies within 10 feet of any tree in the cube must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 46 slashing damage. At the end of each of your turn, one creature of your choice that is in the cube, must succeed in a strength saving throw or become restrained.
Ooh.
A restrained creature can use an action to make a strength athletics check against your spell save DC, ending the effect itself on a success. And finally, rocks. As a bonus action on your turn, you can cause a loose rock in the cube to launch at a creature you can see and make a ranged spell attack against the target. On a hit, they take 3d6 non-magical bludgeoning damage, and it must succeed in a strength saving throw or fall prone. There is a lot of things this one spell is doing.
Okay, so we can take out the part about the tree because there are no trees here. This is like you're in a rocky cavern, so we have the rocks to deal with. So read the part about what am I doing? I'm gonna have to eventually make a saving throw. Is that accurate?
It's now, depending on the grasses and undergrowth, so it's now possibly difficult terrain, and roots and vines. One creature, which will be the fire dude, must succeed in a strength saving throw or become restrained until the spell ends.
Got it. Okay.
You can use your action to make an athletics check against the spell save DC, which would end the effect on its success.
Got it. So we'll do that when it gets to be my turn. And are you flinging a rock at it?
Hell yeah, I'm flinging the rock at it.
Go for it.
So what happens is Lapis is gonna see Tate and see the way Tate looks at whatever this is. And she's immediately going to get up and walk to the edge of the cart. And you just see all of her eyes go black as she raises her hands and says, "Spirits of nature, answer my call." And then the ground is going to burst up and the rocks are going to form around her. And she just says, "Nature, answer swiftly," and crushes it into him with a rock.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So I believe, gotta read that spell system again. Man, druid. I love being a druid. Ranged spell attack against the target. Okay. That is a 29.
Yes, that hits. That hits.
So they take 3d8 non-magical bludgeoning damage. Is this the right dice? Yes. 7 plus 3 plus 6. So 16 non-magical bludgeoning damage.
Okay. How much? 16? Is that what you
Yeah.
said? Okay. So you see these... Y'all trying to keep track of this electronically is wild. What was I thinking? So you see these, the rest of you sort of like, it almost appears as though this storm in reaction to this other storm that you are facing starts. And you can see these rocks just begin flying towards this individual, and you can see that some of them kind of like the holes that open up and allow them to pass through and then close, but you see that he kind of gets hit a few times by these. Is that your turn?
That is my turn.
Tate.
There's this desperate, quiet anger brewing. Tate just... I look up and make eye contact with it. And I say the word that causes me the most pain. And cast power word pain on it. It makes a constitution saving throw. Or no, that's not it. If it has under 100 hit points, it's subject to crippling pain.
And if it is not?
Doesn't work.
So you will see you're pushing everything outward that you can. And you see that something almost takes hold, and you see him just shake it off and keep heading directly towards you.
Let me see if I can do this. I just start to back up in the cot.
Okay. It is the creature's turn. And okay. You will see this creature sort of extend his hand, and from his hand you're going to see this sort of black, dark... It looks like it's trying to maintain sort of like a beam-like shape, but it kind of wavers. And it heads directly toward you, Tate. Does a 15 hit?
That is my armor class with mage armor, so I believe so.
All right. So I'm reading this. Just a moment, please. Sorry. Okay. So you, you take, 15 poison damage, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
I don't take any damage.
Okay.
As my arcane ward for being an abjuration wizard who cast an abjuration spell, just sort of spreads around me these pink and blue threads that just sort of crisscross like an additional armor.
Okay. And you can see that upon seeing this, the creature sort of looks frustrated and agitated that this didn't take hold.
The ward takes damage, but I don't.
Right, and they can see that, and that agitates them. So, that is its turn, which takes us back to the top of the round. Irene, as you are standing here, you can feel this rage grow. All of you can feel this. Lapis, all you can feel is that, in a way, you passed it on to the earth around you. You passed whatever sort of warmth and sort of anger that you can't identify what it is. That is what the storm embodies. You may all now, when casting spells or making attacks against this creature, do so at advantage as this rage continues to grow inside of you. So Irene, what would you like to do?
Okay. Okay. The first thing I would like to do is use my Hexblade's Curse.
Okay.
And in a kind of low voice, gripping onto the sword a little bit tighter, I'll say, to the sword itself, make sure this hurts. And this shadow will just kind of shoot from the sword and latch itself onto this creature, which will deal extra damage to it if I hit. Also, I can crit on a 19 or a 20. And it makes me feel better if it dies. So, I'm gonna try to hit it with my sword again. With advantage, which is great. Alright, so that is a 25 to hit.
That hits.
Fantastic. So, this spell I cast earlier, which takes effect now as I hit a creature with a weapon attack.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first it'll take some sword damage, which is fine. Let's see. So it's gonna take 8 points of slashing damage plus an additional 5.
Is this non-magical or no? Or is this magical?
It is technically magical.
Okay.
And then an extra 5 points. So it'll be, I don't know, math is great. Total of 9. Total of 9 piercing damage. Piercing damage. Okay. And then, with my banishing smite, it takes 5d10 force damage.
Woo!
Math. Oh. 17 points of force damage. If the target is native to a different plane of existence than we are on, the target... Let's see, does it have 50 hit points or fewer?
No.
Damn it. Never mind. Nothing happens. It stays here. It doesn't go away. But it hurts a lot.
Right.
And then that purple kind of shimmer just... when it hit, it's kind of connected to the creature, which dealt the damage, and it dissipated from the sword itself. And that is everything.
Okay. That takes us to Lapis. And Tate, you're on deck.
Did you make an action? Oh, I forgot. They need to make a strength saving throw.
They fail.
Boom.
So what does that mean?
That means they are now restrained.
Okay.
They can use their action to make an athletics check against my spell save DC.
Okay. And what does it look like when they are restrained? What is
Lapis is going to see Tate get hit. And just in a very low voice say, Mohir clone lo me call. And these vines, pure and green, are going to spring up, cracking open the earth beneath it, and they are going to rip at his hands and pull him down, trying to drag him back into the earth.
All right. And for the rest of you can see that this creature is now held down onto the ground. What would you like to do with your turn now?
I am now going to fling more rocks at him.
Okay.
That is a... Yeah, that's a 23.
That hits.
3d8. 2. 6. Math is hard.
It is.
13. So that's
Okay.
13 bludgeoning damage. And because this is a concentration spell, that is my turn.
All right. Tate.
Work. Again. And I'm going to say the name again.
Okay. So you're
Louder.
Power word pain. Okay. This time you can see, as they are restrained and on the ground, that it begins to take hold. So what does that look like? And also mechanically, what does it look like?
I mutter that name one more time.
Okay.
A name I heard that man say over and over and over again. And I want it to hurt him as much as it hurt me to hear it.
Okay.
And mechanically, they have disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, saving throws, other than Constitution saving throws. They are subject to crippling pain. Their speed is no more than 10 feet. If it tries to cast a spell, it must succeed on a Constitution saving throw, or it fails.
Got it.
It can make Constitution saving throws at the end of its turn to try to break the pain.
Okay. So, you can now hear you see their mouth open, and as if they were trying to scream. However, what you see is just these small, whatever sort of buzzing creatures and burning creatures are, sort of like fall out of their mouth and onto the ground, sizzling. And it is their turn. And so I need to make a Constitution saving throw to see if I can cast a spell. Is that right? Is that what you said?
Yes, yeah.
And if I fail, the spell doesn't happen.
Right, and it wastes the spell slot.
Okay. All right. So you can see it kind of like reach up, and you can see something beginning to form, and you can see something begin to crawl out of the ground, and then it stops and it fails. And now, back at the top of the round, you can all feel now almost as if your arms are sort of burning with this rage. And now not only can you make attack rolls at advantage, all of your damage will be doubled. So, we are going to stop there for the evening, though.
Eeper duper.
We'll have to see what happens next week.
Oh,
Chuck 1,000 magic missiles at it.
Ah!
Blow it up.
So,
glad.
all right. Thank you all. In 8 minutes, stick around for Overlight. So we're gonna do super flippity fast, flippity fast.
Flash.
Outros. Thank you all for. Yeah, I have to leave it on a cliffhanger, Corey. This was planned. So thank you very much. So why don't we go ahead and do our outros? Let us know who you are, where we can find you, a favorite moment from tonight. Why don't we start with Anders?
Hi, I'm Anders. Fuck. Getting out of that headspace for a second. You can find me at Anders_D_K on the internet. My favorite moment, selfishly, was getting to use the concept of a dead name as a source of pain for someone.
Yes.
Unselfishly, it was when Val fed the fountain. That was great. You can find me on the Twitters. I made a coffee. I think it's linked on my Twitter, and I'm using it to raise money to maybe make a game that is gonna cost a lot of money because it's a big game. But that's it. That's me. That's what I do.
Thank you, Anders. Over to Mal. I was trying to say. I always want to call you all your character names. So Val, go ahead. Val Lapis.
My name is Val. Hi, everybody. I'm Val. You can find me at the Nutty Niffler on Twitter. That's a thing. And my favorite moment, selfishly, my favorite moment was getting to say, "Mother, hear my call" in Gaelic, because that was pretty cool. I've been trying to learn more Gaelic. And unselfishly, when Taint and Irene were making outfits and Irene had that moment in the mirror because that was beautiful. I love that.
I thought you said making out for a second there, and I was like, what did I miss?
That's VR. That's after dark stuff. And that's my time I'm out.
And Maria.
Hello, it's me. I'm Maria. You can find me at Happy Capster, where I post a lot about stuff like this. My favorite moments were when there were a couple of things that were said by one by Hilda that was, you don't have to be afraid to ask for help. Like, hello, that's my tummy and my soul. And then Irene and Tate's moment at the shop and being able to kind of bond about that specific thing in different ways was so good. I do a lot of things. I'm here on Thursdays. I play in space with these lovely people. All of these people were in space. And then also on Sunday nights, I'm in Urban Shadows, and things are going really great there. We killed a person. Someone died. But it was us. We did that. At Society Goblins, Goblin Society Games, we make magic items and all sorts of cool D&D 5e stuff. Check it out.
Can I plug one more thing? I'm
Hell
sorry,
yes.
I forgot a thing.
No, don't apologize.
Do it.
I don't remember if it's CST or EST, but you could check their Twitter because it'll have more correct information than me. But tomorrow, there's a new show on Dice Priority that I get to be in. It's the Firefly show, and I might be playing a lesbian pinup girl who is beautiful and wonderful. So you should go watch that and be on the lookout for selfies.
Oofa doofa. Awesome. All right. Hello, I am Emma. You can find me at MK Hansen on Twitter. I have been your story weaver for this evening. Thanks for coming along for this ride. You can find me here on Mondays, and on Thursdays you can also find me here for Project VHS, which these folks are in as well. It's awesome and awful and terrifying and wonderful and so many things. It's just phenomenal. in 2 weeks, you can find me over on So Maddie. I will be on his backstory. He'll be interviewing me about my life. So swing by there on Sunday. And I think that is it. Join us back here next week to see what happens as they continue to move through these emotional storms. I'm not supposed to do this, but my favorite moment this evening was I enjoyed tonight because it was it was an opportunity for me to flex my improv muscles. Because I didn't know what they would do because it depended on the rumor table. So I didn't plan anything. So that was a lot of fun. And I also really enjoyed the first. I was glad that the first storm was rage, and it was interesting based on previous conversations that Anders and I had, and it was interesting to see how this was interpreted and how it unfolded. And I actually really enjoyed that scene a lot. So I love you all. Please stick around. Overlight starting in just a couple moments with Eugenio and a wonderful cast. I love you all. Please hydrate and be kind to yourselves. Be good to one another. And that's it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. See you next week.